Hello my friend, on a recent video SS Syntax commented asking how do you create those rich layered backing vocals in your home studio. So this video is all about how to record rich layered backing vocals that just sound great in big anthemic sections of your songs. So let's dive straight in. So a little bit later on in this video, we'll dive inside the DAW and take a look at that specific backing vocal example and just dissect all the tracks and see what's going on to create that rich layered backing vocal sound. But I want to kick things off in this video by offering you a whole bunch of recording tips. This video is specifically about recording multi-layers of your voice and harmonies to create a rich choral backing vocal. This technique's really useful for outros and big anthemic sections of songs, but what I'm not talking about is recording one vocal and then slapping a harmonizer plugin on it and hoping for the best. Now there's some pretty decent harmonizer plugins out there. I like the one from Waves, but I have to be totally honest, I don't think any of them get anywhere near as close to actually physically doing it yourself. And when I think about recording multi-layered harmonizer vocals, the first band I always think of is Queen, and Queen worked great because they had a lot of great vocalists in the band. That not only gave them a real selection of tone in the recordings, but also gave them a lot of vocal range to play with when it came to the harmonies. So, okay, we don't all have access to Queen quality harmonies, but what I'm saying is if you do have other singers within your group or work with other singers, it can be really advantageous to get them in to really help to create that big, rich vocal sound. But don't worry if it's just you in your home studio, there's plenty of tips and techniques you can employ to get excellent, lush, rich sounding backing vocals. And the first one of those really is mic placement. Now, if you think about where you've recorded your vocal, let's say handspans distance away from your mic, if you're then thinking about doing another 10, 12, 14 backing vocals, all from the same distance, it's all going to make all of the vocals sound like they're up here in the same place. And of course, when you think about a chorus or a lot of backing vocals, that just isn't physically where they'd be. You'd probably have a multitude of different distances from the microphone. So if you're recording your own voice 8, 10, 12, 14 different times to create this effect, then think about your mic placement and move around the microphone. This is not only going to give more depth and make it feel like the backing vocal is supporting the lead vocal and keep that lead vocal up front in the mix, but it's also going to create a much more realistic chorus sound. Mixing things up when you're recording too, alternating between falsetto head voice and chest voice can really help to mix the sound up and give a much more richer depth of tone. Now this might sound a bit crazy, but when I'm doing this, I also kind of like to assume different characters too. It kind of brings in a little bit of extra difference of timbre too. So if I'm singing up here, then I might have a different character and delivery to if I'm singing down here. Playing around with kind of different character voices helps to give you that realistic breadth of sound. And whilst we're talking about falsetto, that high head voice, guys, I want to say to you, don't be afraid. Even if your falsetto is quite weak, I don't have the strongest falsetto. And if you play it back in the studio and you think, oh no, that sounds really awful, I'd encourage you to play it back within the whole context of the choral effect you're creating. So if you've got 14 tracks, maybe 2 or 4 of which are in falsetto, make sure you listen back to them in the context of those 14 tracks. You'll be surprised, once those falsetto vocals are within the mix, they can really, really shine. Now, if you're lucky enough to have multiple mics, then that's another great way to go to create that difference, which is going to help to create that all-important, rich, lush backing vocal. So pull out as many different mics as you can to create different sounds. Something that might sound obvious, but is worth mentioning, that typically these big lush backing vocals will be recorded after your lead vocal. So you'll be recording them to your lead vocal to make sure that your timing fits in really nicely with that crucial lead vocal. Now, if you're somebody that finds finding the harmonies quite a challenge, I know plenty of people will use their instrument of choice, piano or a guitar. If you're more like me, I tend to just sing along to the lead vocal and kind of find a harmony which suits. But I know plenty of people that find that a real challenge. This is where harmonizer plugins can be really helpful to kind of show you the way. You can simply just set them up to find the harmony, listen to the harmony that they've generated off the lead vocal, and then sing that harmony. That's a really easy way to build up simple harmonies which you know are going to work without getting frustrated trying to find a harmony. Something I'd advise against overdoing is tuning your backing vocals when you're creating these multi-layered vocals. If you tune them to the nth degree, you're going to lose all of that difference, and you're going to start getting a lot of phasing issues too as you're building up your vocals. Something else I like to do, which is a bit of a hangover from my sort of 4-track and 8-track days when I didn't have a de-esser, is to just go easy on the S's at the end of phrases. If you've got 14 phrases that say, today we got on the bus, when you've got 14 bus firing off all at slightly different times, it can still make quite a lot of work for your de-esser. So I just tend to back off the S's when I'm performing. And, you know, that just makes life a lot easier as we go through the mix process. And finally, something which you may have picked up on already is that if you're looking for that big choral effect, then certainly maybe 8, 10, 12, 14 tracks or more to really get that big sound, which we're going to take a look at now inside the DAW. So first off, I just want to say, if you want to mix this song yourself, it's featured within my free new course, Pro Mix Method. That's based on creating a professional foundation to your mix, so you can stop being frustrated by your mixes that just don't turn out the way you hope they would. You can check out Pro Mix Method. The link is below this video. So what we're focusing on in this video is this outro anthemic section of the song. This track's not been mixed as yet. It's up to the static mix stage. Let's just take a listen to it. Let's just solo out those anthemic backing vocals.
So don't be blue, only you can choose another way.
So let's just break down these tracks and see what's going on. So I've got 4 tracks of backing vocals which go on throughout my song. They're a close-up hand, left and right 20, so I'm really supporting that lead vocal. But when it comes to the outro section, I've got another 10 vocals just here. Let me just solo those out. And they're a slightly wider panned, left and right 50. And this is what they sound like.
Don't be blue, only you can choose.
So let's just take a listen to those 2 tracks at a time. So I'm going to mute these and start with these 2.
Don't be blue, only you can choose another way.
So you can hear already, like with those 2, that the timing's not perfect, and that kind of helps for that sort of large chorus sound. Let's add in the next 2 and hear what's going on with those.
Don't be blue, only you can choose.
So now we're into falsetto.
Another way.
And hopefully you can hear my falsetto isn't super strong, and actually when you sort of listen down to a couple of tracks of it, you're kind of like, what, really? But when you bring it into the whole context, those falsetto vocals just sound great. So here's those 4 together.
Don't be blue, only you can choose another way.
Let's take a listen to the next set of harmonies.
Don't be blue, only you can choose another way.
So a slower harmony, I think, which fits.
Don't be blue, only you can choose.
But slightly kind of different delivery with those 2. Move on to these 2.
Don't be blue, only you can choose another way.
Similar to these first 2.
Don't be blue, only you can choose another way.
So we've got 4 of those. And finally, these 2.
Don't be blue, only you can choose another way. And today won't have to.
So I think we're just about in chest voice there, but I'm really pitching my nose, getting a really nasal sound. But going back to what I said in the earlier part of the video, it's kind of got a different character to it, which kind of gives it a slightly different sound. I know that sounds absolutely bonkers, but when you do put them all together, it does create that all-important difference to create that kind of sound like you've got a bunch of people in a room, even if it's just you. So here's the outro vocals together.
Don't be blue, only you can choose.
So now if I just mute these back out, I also do have the backing vocals that are featured in the rest of the song, also singing some outro backing as well.
Only you can choose.
Back in the falsetto, and these two as well.
Only you can choose.
So I'm singing the same line as the falsetto, but I'm really stretching myself to sing it in chest voice, once again, to give it a different tone. Let's listen to all of them together.
Be blue. Only you can choose another way.
And with the lead vocal.
Be blue. Only you can choose another way.
And once again, within the context of this static mix, this is what they sound like.
Be blue. Only you can choose another way. And today won't have to be the same.
So I hope that helps you out and encourages you to have a go at creating these big anthemic vocals on your own in a home studio. I want to say, you know, I am a singer. I do sing professionally in a band and have sung as a wedding singer in the past, but I wouldn't put myself in the bracket of a singer's singer. These aren't particularly difficult harmonies, and I don't have a really large range either. So I'm definitely making the best with what I've got. And, you know, these are harmonies that a lot of you guys out there can do. If you're not a singer or you're not used to singing, but you can sing a bit, then I encourage you to give it a go. You know, it really does sound great when you're using real voices to create these big anthemic harmonies. Once again, if you want to have a go at mixing this track and, most importantly, learn how to create a professional foundation to your mix, unpacking how to create an awesome sounding static mix before you've started putting plugins in on your tracks, learn how to maximize your mix bus, how to simplify your mixes by understanding how to bring in buses, how to do simple but effective gain staging, it's all bundled in the free course Pro Mix method. You'll find the link to that below this video. If you found this video useful today, please also do remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Liking and subscribing helps me to keep creating more videos like this. Let me know what you think too about creating big, rich, lush, anthemic backing vocals from your home studio. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know if you've got any tips and techniques to help everyone out in the comments box below. And if you enjoyed this video today, you're definitely going to want to check this next one out.